On August 7, 2026, the Department of War published its fifth release under the Presidential Unsealing and Reporting System for UAP Encounters, PRSU. 41 items, 16 videos, 22 documents, 3 images. The material is drawn from the Pentagon, the FBI, the CIA, the State Department, and the Executive Office of the President, with records spanning 1950 to 2026. Every case in the tranche carries the same official label, Unresolved. That single word is doing an enormous amount of work, legally, analytically, and in the headlines that followed. So before we talk about triangles over Afghanistan or orbs over the Pacific, it's worth being precise about what the government actually said and what it conspicuously did not say. PRSU is a release mechanism, not an investigation. It routes previously withheld UAP-related holdings from multiple agencies into a public reading room on a recurring schedule, following the disclosure and review architecture Congress has been building since the 2023 UAP Disclosure Act fights over presidential certification and postponement authority. That distinction matters. A release system publishes records. It does not adjudicate them. The analytic judgments still sit with the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office and the originating agencies. So when a file appears under PRSU marked Unresolved, that is a status about the case file, not a finding about the object. It means the government has published something it has not closed. The composition is the first thing worth reading. 22 of the 41 items are documents, memoranda, cables, correspondence, not sensor footage. 16 are videos, 3 are images. Those 3 numbers describe one population, items in this tranche. They should not be blended with report totals from AARO's annual reporting, which counts something entirely different, cases submitted to a resolution office over a fiscal year. The 76-year span, 1950 to 2026, tells you this is a mixed holding, Cold War-era paper alongside recent military sensor captures. The geography is similarly scattered, Afghanistan, the broader Middle East, the Pacific Ocean. This is an archive dump organized by declassification review, not by phenomenon type. The case drawing the most attention describes a large triangular object observed over Afghanistan. Triangles have a long and complicated history in this field. They dominated the Belgian wave of 1989 and 1990. They also describe with uncomfortable accuracy several conventional aircraft and a number of well-documented optical artifacts, including the triangular bokeh that out-of-focus point sources produce through certain camera apertures. None of that resolves the Afghanistan file, but it explains why the government would leave it open rather than call it anomalous. According to the release, no definitive determination has been made about what was observed. That is the whole claim.
Anything beyond it, craft, drone, aircraft, artifact, is inference layered on top by others. The tranche also includes orb and sphere-like objects reported over the Middle East and over the Pacific Ocean. This is the most frequently reported morphology in modern military UAP reporting, and also the least diagnostic. A sphere in infrared can be a balloon, a small uncrewed system at range, a lens artifact, or an object whose actual shape the sensors simply cannot resolve. AARO's public analyses have repeatedly landed on mundane explanations for orb-type reports, and have also acknowledged a residual set they cannot close. The released files place these cases in that residual set. Not extraordinary, not explained, unresolved. Here is the pivot point of this entire release. Unresolved is a case management status. It means the available data was insufficient to reach a determination, or the analysis was never completed, or the case was closed administratively without a conclusion. It carries no assertion about exotic technology. It does not certify that anything unusual occurred. Media coverage has widely translated it as unexplained, and in some outlets as the Pentagon can't explain. Those are looser words than the source used, and the gap is not cosmetic. Insufficient data and genuine anomaly are different findings that happen to share an outcome. Read the label the government chose. It was chosen carefully. Then came the post-release analysis of case DOW-UAP-PR043. Independent reviewers working from the published footage argued the object is most likely a fast tactical missile. Consistent trajectory, consistent apparent speed, consistent thermal signature, in a theater where such munitions are routinely employed. If that assessment holds, it is not an embarrassment for PRSU. It is the system functioning as designed. The government published a file it had not resolved. Outside analysts applied capability they could not, and produced a candidate explanation. But note what has not happened. No official reclassification. The file status remains unresolved until an originating agency changes it. The independent analysis is a hypothesis with public evidence behind it, not a determination. This is where numbers discipline becomes the whole ballgame. Consider AARO's fiscal year 2025 reporting. It documented 319 UAP reports received during the reporting period. Separately, it documented 50 uncrewed aircraft system notifications near nuclear sites, up from 18 the previous year. Those are two distinct counts, measuring two different things. The 50 are not a subset of the 319, and adding them together produces a number that describes nothing. They are also notifications, not incursions, a word the source did not use. The same care applies here. 41 items in one tranche, all unresolved. One case now contested by outside analysts. Nothing more and nothing less. Three things determine whether PURSU is meaningful or performative.
First, does any case ever move off unresolved in public? A disclosure system that only ever publishes open files and never records a resolution is an archive, not accountability. Second, metadata quality. Sensor type, date timestamps, geolocation, chain of custody. Without those, independent analysis of the kind applied to DOW-UAP-PR043 becomes guesswork. Third, what stays sealed? 41 items released tells us nothing about the denominator. The most honest reading of August 7 is the least dramatic one. The government published 41 files it has not explained and told us precisely that it has not explained them.